Hey friends, I want to talk to you about a prophetic word that is thrown out there a lot, and it's the word suddenly. I love suddenly moments. I know you've had suddenlies. I've had suddenlies where God just showed up in a mighty way. When God came through, when you just had to have him, he came through. He's a breakthrough type of God. I love God for that. But I want to talk to you about something because a lot of people rely and base and live their whole life on God always breaking through for them. You know, a lot of times suddenlies aren't sudden. It's just the end of a process. I remember one time I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say that just in the course of a month or two, he said so many people came up to him and said, "Bishop, you became an overnight success." And he said, actually, it took me 25 years to get here. And I remember I used to laugh at that till recently. Some people have been coming up to me and like, "Joe, you just came out of nowhere. You're like an overnight success." And I'm like, no, I'm not. I've been in ministry for 25 years. I've been fasting and praying and seeking the Lord. And now is a season that God is really just opening up a lot of great things for us. And God is really exposing us to a lot of different ministries and different circles and stuff like that. And so God is really doing something great. Now, like I said, we've had some suddenlies. We've had some radical miracles, some healings, some checks in the mail. When God just opened a door where there seemed to be no door, where he made a way where there seemed to be no way. I love those, but don't depend on those. Don't rely if God doesn't do it every month. I had a friend of mine, he sent me a financial request and like a GoFundMe. And I said, "Bud, I love you. I'm going to speak into your life. This is 6 months in a row you've sent me a GoFundMe because your budget's low. If your budget has been low for 6 months in a row, I think I got a prophetic word for you. You need to do something a little different. You need to make a change. Something's got to shift in your life." And he didn't meet his budget for a few months. And he was always saying, "Oh, I need a suddenly, I need a breakthrough." If you need a breakthrough every single month, something's wrong. And what you got to understand is there's times in our life when we will learn that when God gives us a prophetic word, there is a process. Now, a lot of people, they don't like the word process. They don't want to go through a process. They just want the prophetic word. And here's what happens. Here's where immaturity comes in. You get an amazing, powerful prophetic word from God. As soon as you get the word, you're like, "Oh God, bring me a suddenly. Oh God, bring me a breakthrough. I need it to happen right now, Lord." And you know what? Sometimes God does stuff like that. If you get a bad doctor's report, he will bring you a suddenly and see you healed. But I'm not talking about that. This is what I'm talking about. When someone gets a prophetic word, they don't spend any time on the process. They're just wanting the prophetic word. I've seen people who get so mad at God. And I'm going to tell you, my God is a good God. He is a great God. And people get mad and they're like, "Well, God gave me a prophetic word and he didn't bring it to pass." And I said, well, if you're crying out to God because you're thirsty and there's a case of water 10 feet in front of you and you didn't go get it, it's your fault. There is a process. Imagine this. Let's say that there's a 16-year-old guy and he's sitting there in school one day and God speaks to him and says, "I want you to be a doctor." But he doesn't go to college. He has to go to college. You know, the Bible says, "I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me." What's the key word? I. Yeah, Christ will strengthen you. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Well, what does strengthens me mean? It means that the journey is going to be hard, but you got to do it. You got to have the process. The process is what gets you to the promise. And there's a lot of people that don't want to go through the process. But I'm telling you, you've got to understand this. If you will go through the process, you will hit your mark. You're going to be successful in what God has called you to be. But whenever the Lord calls you to something, understand that you've got to grow, that you've got to learn. You need to be a forever student. You got to have a work ethic to see things come to pass. So I hope this video encouraged you, and I hope that it helped you today.